Good evening, good morning, wherever you're listening from. My name's Kerry Deval. I am the Warrior Queen. I'm back. I've been away for a while because I've had bad mental health of my own, but now I'm back and I'm ready to go. We've got an amazing show lined up. See you in a minute. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome back to An Audience with a Queen. I'm back.
Yay. Welcome back. We're so happy to see you and have you back.
Yeah, we are indeed.
I'm glad to be back.
I've always loved your tiara. Why don't you wear it sometime?
I know. And maybe I should buy myself a tiara.
Yes, absolutely.
Adam, behave.
Why not?
Why should I behave? It's having fun.
Because I can do this.
That's so funny.
I have so missed doing that. I've missed doing that. Oh, come on. It's the Warriors.
Well,
we all
at
pick
least
on
she's laughing.
Adam thinks he's
we got humor. We're talking about mental health.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, we have to have a joke.
We
have to have a funny joke sometimes because mental health can be obviously really serious. Right, anyway, all jokes aside, tonight we're going to pick up where we left off 2 weeks ago, and tonight we're going to talk about body image and mental health. So I'm going to throw straight over to Adam. You go first.
I don't know. No, body image. Well, that promotes anxiety, though, doesn't it?
It does.
You can be anxious. You can be paranoid. It can promote eating disorders. It can trigger self-harm. It can do all sorts.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, Graham.
Yeah. It can. So it's obviously with body image, when you hear the word body image, what comes to mind, Annette?
Body conscious.
Adam, shut
Body
up.
conscious. Okay.
Well, you know, this is an interesting topic for me because I really haven't talked about body image before concerning my mental health. It has affected me because I do. Okay, wait a minute. I got to use my new language. I was a compulsive overeater and dieter. Okay, so I've always had this. This is the strangest thing. The body image for me has always been when I was heavy, I always saw myself as thin. And when I was thinner, I always imagined myself heavier. So my mind would play tricks on me. So my body image, I love this topic because I would love to get some feedback from everyone and viewers alike about how it's connected to our mental health. So when I hear mental health and body image, it's going to wake me up. It's going to give me some deep insight.
Yeah. And what about you, Andrea? When you hear the word body image and mental health, what comes to you?
Well, being molested by a male as a young girl, that really, I didn't want to be attractive. You know what I mean? I didn't want to attract. I felt like it was my body that he was attracted to. And so that really had a big effect on my body image. Overeating, snacking all through the night, keeping bags of candy by my bed, picking my feet to where I can't walk. So, all that's body image stuff that comes up to me because I always thought I was big, but I was just a thick girl. I had hips and You know, I was a brick house and didn't realize I was a brick house. I just thought I was fat, you know. One boy liked me and he said to me, "You got them apple pie hips." And my head went to the left. You know, I'm thinking, oh, he's saying I eat too much apple pie, which I don't like apple pie anyway. And you know, I looked at it that way, and not that he was looking at it like maybe my hips are shaped out like an apple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can damage and make you feel self-conscious. And then I lost my hair at a young age, and you know, a lot of depression, a lot of isolating. When I hear body language, and when I tie it to mental health, I could see where it has affected me.
Yeah. And finally, Adam, same question.
You've already asked me. You started with me.
No. I said we're going to shoot to you first to talk about it, but then what do you think? What comes to you when you hear the word body image and mental health?
Mindset, because mindset is everything. And I am. Well, Miss Liz is on the way, by the way. Yeah, mindset, because that dictates what choices we make. Yeah. Because nobody forces us to eat except for ourselves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we've had a comment about this, so I'll just put it up. Fat shaming someone must be horrible to people. It must have a terrible effect on their mental health. It's absolutely right, Dad. Growing up, I had a lot of this. So I would go to school and I would be called fat. I was told nobody will ever love you unless they've got a white stick and they're blind. I had horrible comments thrown at me because of my weight. And yeah, that triggered my depression. It also triggered self-harming and everything like that when I was growing up. You know, but I think it contributed to the self-harming because there was other things going on in my life as well at that point. But bullying was a big thing. I was bullied all the time because of my weight. So my body image has always been, I've always hated my body. And obviously, like my dad's just said in his comment, fat shaming somebody does have a terrible effect on their mental health, because then they start feeling, you know, they're self-conscious about the way they look, about the way that other people think of them, and they're always constantly thinking, well, are they laughing and joking at me? You know, is that little joke they said, is it about me? You constantly got that worry. So yeah, and I can understand and relate to a lot of people about this because I've been through it myself. Whereas now, been through all my training, I still sometimes worry about the way that I look. You know, do I look okay? And I ask Adam, do I look all right? And he's always like reassuring me that I am okay. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, you know, that still happens, and it's getting better though. Would you agree, Adam?
Yeah.
Are you even paying attention?
Yeah, I am. Max has come to bug me. See?
Oh, I would really.
I can relate.
No, I definitely relate. I really do, because obviously when I met Kerry, I wasn't this big. I was literally I had no meat to me at all. I was athletic, and I was playing football pretty much every single day. But now I've let myself go. But now I'm trying to get back to that.
Well, that makes sense that you talk about mindset, because you recognize that you were like this, then you let yourself go, and now you're attempting to get back. So yours is totally around your mindset. Yeah.
And we've been joined by Miss Liz.
And I can relate. Hi, Miss Liz.
Yeah. Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
I have new hearing aids and that, and a new box here, so there's no more earbuds in my ears.
Yeah. Right, well, the question I gave to everybody else, so I'm going to fire it at you, Elizabeth, because you just joined us. Well, when you hear the word body image and mental health, what comes to mind?
Frustration.
Do you want to expand on that?
Honestly, my mental health and my self-image had a lot to do with my eating disorder. So
Hmm.
when I started taking medicine, I started feeling like I was this big plump person, and then I lost a lot of weight, and I still seem this big plump person. So it was a lot of frustration for body image and that, and it had a lot to do with my mental health as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously before you joined us, we seen a comment from my dad, Graham, about fat shaming, and shaming somebody must be horrible for that person. So, and I said, and I was basically saying about how I've grown up through that, and I've had my own problems around bullying because of my weight. So, obviously I can really connect with this. So, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with your eating disorder? Because obviously, eating disorders, they are connected to body image, the way you see yourself, your self-esteem. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind?
My body image started at the age of 12, Carrie. I was diagnosed with manic depressive at the age of 12. It had to do with a lot of trauma and sexual abuse and miscarriage. And that, well, I hadn't lost my baby yet. I was pregnant and I didn't know how to understand that because I was told I had bugs in my belly instead of a baby. And then when I miscarried my daughter, Ashley, well, there was a baby and I was old enough to know what a baby looked like. So there was a lot of that trauma. And for me, my uh, just a body changing of being pregnant, being told that I had this mental illness, at the age of 12, thinking that there's something wrong with me even more. And maybe that's why I'm being targeted as a by my sex predators and that. So there was a lot of body image. I covered up a lot. I thought if I covered myself, nobody could hurt me, but they still got to me. They still found their ways of hurting. So I covered my body a lot. And even to this day, I still cover my body in certain parts because I still body shame myself on some days when my mental health is down. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a struggle. It's been a really big struggle. And I did some reading on body image and all that and why we do these things. And 72% is because of sexual abuse that leads to
Yeah.
the mental health. So, yeah, there's a lot behind it, right? There's always an underlining reason why we are and why we're diagnosed with these different mental illnesses. So
Yeah. Yeah. My next question to you all is, where do you think being self-conscious about your body starts? So I'm going to start with Annette.
Good place to start. When I was in public school, which was like before you go like up to grade 6 here in Canada, I'm a very carefree kind of girl, right? I was like bubbly and outgoing and joking and laughing and affectionate. And I started to develop a consciousness about my body image after girls started to tease me about the development of my breasts. Because here I was a very young girl. I started at 9 developing breasts. And I was sort of traumatized by my mother when she took me to the doctor. Okay, this is like a really personal story, but I don't have no problem sharing it now. But she took me to the doctor to get examined because she had no idea. Okay, so body image can grow out of a lack of awareness about other people, right? Your ignorance, say, but my mother was ignorant to the fact that I was developing breasts. So she took me to the doctor to get examined. And after that moment, I was traumatized. I was like, why are these people touching my chest? Why are the girls in school looking at my chest? So it's not always, for me, it's not always been about being overweight. And I don't like to use the word fat on any, because fat is what is in our body as something that is healthy. It's to protect our organs. It's to protect our, it's under our skin. It serves a purpose. So referring to somebody as fat is really demeaning. I mean, Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on about this topic, but the whole thing started around me developing becoming a woman. So shaming somebody about becoming a woman was really traumatic. I mean, you like Liz, you start to cover up, you start to be self-conscious. And then as I got older, I took the flip side of it, and I became see my sexual abuse didn't manifest in getting overweight per se until much later. I don't know why, but it was much later. But I was the opposite. I became the girl that was always displaying herself. I was provocative. I was out there. I was showing my assets. And I thought of myself, my body image, as that's the way I get attention. Right? I ended up having that situation in my life. I don't even know if I've answered your question, but that's where I went with it.
Yeah, that is because obviously for me, answering it would be like you said, when you're starting to develop, so when you're making that transition from a child into a young woman and breasts start growing, and you obviously start your monthly cycle like every female does, and you become conscious of these changes in your body. You're thinking, is this normal? And then you think, should I talk to somebody? Will I be seen as worried? I think every young woman will go through this. And I don't have much experience on how the males transitions, and obviously I know how they transition, but I'm going to fire over to Adam. How is it from a male perspective going from a child to a young man, making that transition and body image and how it affects you?
I'm going to say it bluntly. Men don't give a shit. They don't. Because there's literally hormones, there's sex hormones, they increase massively. And they do. And when it comes to body conscious, well, that doesn't exist because we've been manipulated and brainwashed into being these masculine people. But really, we're not. We're vulnerable.
Yeah. So did you ever have any worries when you made that transition from being a child into a young man and changes started to happen?
I never. Oh, hello. I never had to talk with anyone. I just got on with it myself.
All right. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, that happens a lot, I think, with men and women, where the parents, like in my experience, my mother, because of the generation, I guess now everybody, I don't know, maybe Andrea could enlighten us, but I never got the opportunity to talk to my daughters because I was separated from them. But my parents never educated me about the birds and the bees kind of thing, or about body image or anything like that.
No, well, I never had anyone to turn to, no dad figure or anyone, so I just got on with it myself.
Yeah.
And I've learned it over time.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm now going to fire over to Andrea. So, how was your experience when it came to you having those changes when you were younger? And obviously, you have daughters, don't you?
Yes, 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how did you manage when they were making that transition then?
There were things that I did say growing up because of some, whatever experiences I had. I didn't want them to feel like I did. Now I wasn't the fat kid by no means. I was the skinny little stick figure running around. So development in transitioning, in being a adolescence, like I said, I had the Coke bottle shape, but my mindset didn't see the Coke bottle shape. I saw myself as fat. I had and I wore a size 9. I think that, now that I sit here as an adult and know more, I realized that I had a nice body, but I didn't think I did. And I was comparing myself to my friend who was a size 0. So
well, that's a big thing with
I
body
think that had a big
comparisons.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. You know, I'm running around with a friend that's a stick figure, and I've got hips, and like you said, Annette, my boobs got out there, and boys was running up, hitting me on my butt at recess and stuff. You know, I didn't welcome it like that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, ooh, I got a beautiful body. I didn't see that. So for my girls, I wanted them to know that no matter what size they were, that they're beautiful, you know, that eating right, those types of things mattered. In our house, I grew up with the grandparents. So my grandmother was a thick woman. My mother was a big woman. She, you know, she was probably trailing on obese. And so teaching my daughters that they're beautiful no matter what. And I don't just talk about the, you know, being beautiful, the image. I talk about their intelligence and how, you know, talented they are. I never got that. No one ever came and said, you're talented at this or that until I got into middle school. You know what I'm saying? And then it was the educators that were telling me, you know, seeing what talents they saw in me. So I didn't want my daughters to focus on body. I wanted them to, and let me tell you, my daughters they got some beautiful bodies. You know, they don't have any problems with obesity or anything like that. But just teaching them to eat better. You know what? You're not going to be laying in your bed eating candy all night like I did when I grew up. Trying to do things differently for them. And always asking them, has anybody touched you, or you know what I mean? Always coming like that to my girls. They, you know, and wanting them to know that if something like that happens, that they can come to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just trying to make them know that it's not just about beauty. That's what I could say. You know, I went differently than I was taught. I had to learn my worth, and I'm still learning today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that about teaching our children that it's okay to say no. You know that, that's perfectly fine. It's like if she's not obviously you've got to word it. You've got to word it with children, so it's you know, nobody can force you to do something you don't want to do. You know, and obviously we've got to be careful because obviously, you know, we are live on Facebook and YouTube, so we've got to be careful what we say here. We don't know who's. But
just saying, you know, naming the body parts, really, not calling, you know, body parts something foreign because we're uncomfortable. We have to, if we want them to know that they're being harmed, we have to be real about what parts of their body that someone could harm them in when it comes to that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we've already started with Tegan, that she knows where her private parts are. So she knows that no one's allowed to touch those private parts unless she wants them to. She knows
She's
that.
Not having a fella.
And she knows that she can't say yes to anybody doing anything like that until she's at least 18. I know the age limit in the UK is 16, but we've told her it's 18. You know, I don't want her doing stuff like that until she's 18. I want her to keep her head in the books, and that's the same with Adam. You know, so Elizabeth,
I like that. 18.
Yeah. Elizabeth, are you with us? I know we're having a few technical issues with Elizabeth.
She's playing hide and seek.
Stop playing hide and seek, Adam. We're going to play hide and seek with you in a minute. Shut up.
She appears frozen there.
She's frozen.
Let it go. Let it go.
Adam needs to behave.
She let you go.
Adam needs to behave.
She let you go, Adam.
I dug into that one.
No, but we're having a serious chat, so we've got to have a little bit of a play in the middle. So Yeah. Elizabeth, are you with
think
us? I know we're having a few technical issues.
I think it's StreamYard.
Yeah, it could be. Elizabeth, can you hear us?
I can hear.
No, Elizabeth's gone all robotic at the moment.
Popping in and out, but I can
And
see you and I
Carrie,
can hear you.
Carrie, what's your
Go on,
dad?
go on.
StreamYard.
What Graham? That's your dad?
Yeah.
Graham's your dad?
Yeah, Graham's my dad,
What
yeah.
he had to say made me what he had to say about fat shaming. It made me think about my sister.
Yeah.
I used to fight people because they used to fat shame her. I would get in fights with people. I mean, even school teachers, if they, I mean, I became the parent in that situation. He shamed her. And it helped me to also look at the fact she told me I have a tongue that could be like a double-edged sword and cut people's heads off. Well, whenever she upset me or pissed me off, well,
Yeah.
what would I do? I'd fat shame her and tell her she was fat and was adopted and stuff like that. And I've been apologizing for that for years, and I'll probably continue to do that. But it just made me realize that, yeah, I hurt
We're
my
all
sister.
guilty of it,
You know,
though.
and she told
We're all
me. She told me I changed. You know, I changed in the man. I listened to what she said to me. Now I fight everybody else, but I did it myself to her. So it made me reflect on that, and I felt kind of sad. I felt sad for her doing that to her. I felt remorse even now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when we were younger, I think we can all be guilty of that.
All we can do when we are mean to other people is make amends. Yeah, we have to just make our amends to people. There's nothing, you can't change what you did in the past. All you can do is hope that making amends with people helps their mental health.
Well, this is why with our kids, I don't know about you lot, but what we do with Lucas and Tegan is we use the glass method, where if they're saying horrible, nasty things to us, we take them into the kitchen, get a glass, and tell them, right, drop it on the floor, and I'll start apologizing to it and try and fix it. They can't, and that's how they make people feel.
That's an interesting analogy test.
Yeah, and it's basically it gets them to
it.
realize that okay, you know, we can all be guilty of saying horrible things to some other person, but then it makes them think about not saying those horrible things, because we're trying to teach the next generation that it's not okay to call somebody fat, to say nobody will ever love you, because you don't know what's going on in that person's head. You don't know what's going on when that child goes home. You know, you don't know what sort of environment they're going home to. You know, what's going on in their life, where that's going to lead them. So obviously, going back to myself, I was bullied in school, and at home I was being bullied. So I hated all aspects of my life. You know, I hated myself. I didn't attempt suicide until I was an adult, but I could have very easily done it as a child. You know, so, and sadly, we do hear about children ending their own lives at really young ages. I think the youngest I've seen is 9. A 9-year-old was found hung in his bedroom because of trolls online.
Yes.
That's a sad reality
here
of the
in
world.
America. I know there was a 7-year-old boy, and it made the news several years ago, that hung himself in the closet.
Wow.
7.
Yeah. Well, these things that happen to us in our lives, it's some people, I mean, it's just they just, I don't know, they don't care. They don't think before they open their mouths. And I have this conversation with my boyfriend all the time. I'm like, why are we so cruel when we're young. And I don't, myself personally, I don't believe I was cruel to others in the sense of bullying. I was bullied about various things. And when I look back in my mind's eye, I think I must have been born on a different planet, because it always appeared to me to, maybe it was my mother's example. She was always kind to everybody. She never talked down to anybody. If anything, she was always trying to help people. And your home environment can have a huge impact. And I didn't like to hang around people that were mean to other people. I avoided them like the plague.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you think we can educate the next generation about the importance of having your own self-worth, belief in yourself, and a positive body image? We'll start with Adam.
How long have you got with this one when it comes to educating?
Don't talk about the education system. Talk about educating them about the issues we're talking about at the moment.
Well, the thing is, even though you're literally right below me, I think we've had some sort of a brainwave, because when you was talking, I was literally thinking of what to say, because I get it. We all respond in different ways. Where when we're doing all this blaming game, we need to realize we're not we're only forcing ourselves to say these nasty things. But it's, how do we educate it? Like, where does it actually start? Because we've got the education system blaming the parents for the child being a little whatever, but then we've got the parents blaming the education system. It's like, where does the compromising come in?
Yeah. Elizabeth, what do you think?
I think,
to this?
can I just touch on that for a second?
Go on.
Can I respond to Adam?
Yeah.
You know, there's this cycle, like you're describing.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like the argument I always have when people say, oh, a corporation did this, a corporation did that, a corporation did this, and the corporation is to blame. But behind a corporation are human beings. You cannot have a corporation without human beings. And the same thing with the educational system. Behind every educational system, whether it's the parent, the school, the church, you name it, it's human beings being human beings, and with their level of awareness and level of consciousness, right? So the answer lies within. For me, you can be taught by a school, your church, your parents, but as soon as you get ABC, okay, A, you're beautiful, B, you're intelligent, C, you're compassionate, whatever, and then you get the other side of the coin where you're taught, you know, from your peers that you're ugly, that you're useless, that you're whatever, right? It's inside of you. You have to make a decision. Am I going to listen to that?
Exactly.
Right? It really does come down to that. My body image only suffered because I believed my brother when he told me I was fat. And then when I went back and looked at pictures of me when I was 12, I was a stick. Like, what the hell? But I believed it. The mind does what the mind will do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm really passionate about this topic because it's fun.
It's all right.
I believe you. I believe you, because it doesn't matter which side of the corn is getting thrown at us, whether it's the shitty side or if it's positive, but it's how we respond to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Annette, I have to say,
go on.
I'm sorry, I had to jump in there. When it comes to body image too, and being taught in the society that I grow up in, you know, well, in the 70s, black was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? But then after that, the drug pandemic hit, and it was targeted towards our neighborhoods, and it did affect us in a big way. So then when you're told, and my grandmother, she worked as a cook, you know, she was a caterer, and she would go to people's house to cook and couldn't even come in their front door because of the color of her skin. So that's a environment can have a lot of influence on your mindset, because when you're being told and then you're seeing it, or you're experiencing the discrimination yourself,
Yep.
that's a whole different beast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a huge beast, because when somebody's taking body image and mixing it in with the color of your skin, like of course our skin color is part of our body image.
Yep.
And if you're calling somebody a derogatory word because of your skin color, and turning your mind against your own body that you live in because of a color,
Yeah.
that's so sad. Like those people have no heart.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to try and bring Elizabeth in. So Elizabeth, can you hear us? Are you there, Elizabeth? No, we're having quite a few technical issues with Elizabeth tonight. So if she can pop in, we'll quiet down and we can do it. So picking up from where you were all talking about. So obviously I didn't really want to touch on race, because yeah, all right, race and mental health it is, but I think that's a whole nother show, bringing in race and mental health. But then again, we would have to be careful, because we don't want to trigger somebody. We don't want to cause offence to anybody. We don't want to be doing that. So maybe we can do that.
But it is a part of body image. I'm not trying to hurt anybody by saying it. You know what I mean? I am a Black woman.
Elizabeth,
Yeah, I can hear you.
It does affect you.
Elizabeth, yeah, we can hear you. Are you
It does have an
there?
effect on your body image.
Yeah. Oh.
Just as soon as you start talking, it blows out. What a shame.
So I'm not trying to upset anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to sing.
No, we
anymore.
know
It
you're
is
not.
a
Andrew.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
fact
I think
on my end. That's what I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I fight against it all the time. But it is real.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah, I mean,
and it is people.
You could narrow it down to many things, Carrie, where sorry, you can narrow things down about body image into several categories, like hair color, skin tone, shape. Like people will tease you and shame you on anything to do with your body. Doesn't matter if it's overweight or skinny. Anything. Like people just find anything to cause people hurt.
Well, I want to pick up on both what Annette and Andrea said, but I'm going to start with Andrea. And I'm actually going to ask a question now. I'm not the horse, but I have to. Why are you fighting, hon? Because none of us need to fight. And the reason we don't need to fight is because the decision always lies with them. Now, we've educated so many people on various topics, and we've provided the information to them, but then it's up to them to make that decision themselves. But constantly persisting that's a load of, I don't know. But yeah, it's just one of them. None of us need to fight, because the more we fight, the more we focus on that person over ourselves, and then that's going to drag us down.
What if what if it's a whole school system, Adam?
Can I get in that school system?
Yeah, no, we're not going to let.
That's all I'm saying.
We're not letting Adam get started with the school system tonight, because again, that's a whole different show. And I think,
look, I knew where to come from. I knew where to get your.
I want to point out what your father said, Carrie.
Go on.
I absolutely love what your father just wrote here, and the bottom line is.
Yeah, I was actually coming to that.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
I was actually just about to come to what my dad's just commented. It is a lengthy comment, but it trickles down to sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That's what we were
That's a
taught when we
big
were growing
lie.
up. And obviously, like my dad said in the comment, now we know that sticks and stones will break our bones, yeah, but the words will hurt us. And to be honest, words actually hurt more than the sticks and the stones.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have covered this. Myself and Kevin Gray, we did actually cover phrases we grew up with and how they've changed over time. I can't remember what the topic was, but it did come up in a coffee morning one day. And we did actually cover this. So I would rather have sticks and stones thrown at me instead of the words that was thrown at me. So I was called fat, I was called ugly, I was called ginger, I was called train tracks when I had braces. I had every insult you can think of. I've probably had it thrown at me by somebody. You know, I hated my life, I hated myself. And, you know, so for me to turn around and say I would rather have had that, because the sticks and stones, you can heal from the pain you get, from the pain and the wounds of that. It's the pain and the wounds of the words stay with you for all your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still dealing with the bullying and the trauma I went through as a child now. And I haven't been in school for God knows how long now.
Well, I keep saying a phrase, and I don't regret saying it. I believe absolutely everybody is beautiful in all shapes and sizes. It doesn't matter what you are, and it doesn't matter how we look. I'm not the healthiest and good looking guy. I don't give a shit. I'll say that. But the ugly ones are the ones that attack. That's what I'm saying. That they're the ugly ones.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and we can have a whole nother show about why people attack other people. We can do it around bullying if you really want to. But the reason why, I think ultimately the reason why somebody attacks another person is because there's something going on in their life. That's just my perspective.
Yeah.
So feel free to tell me I'm wrong, but that's my perspective.
Well,
Totally
well,
agree.
it could be a mix. It could be a mixture of that, but it also could be a mixture of they've developed a big ego, and they've got too big for the boots.
Yeah. So before we go, I'm going to try and get Elizabeth in because we have had a few technical issues. So Elizabeth, obviously we know you've been listening. So anything you want to say?
Well, I've been popping in and out, but I've been listening. And the question that you asked me is how we can get education out there. Just be a role model. Just set an example. You know, especially people that live with mental illness, like myself and like many of us do. We need to be that example. We need to start setting up, and we need to start standing up and showing people that we do still suffer from this years later. You know, mental illness never goes away. We just learn to live with it. It's like grief. It's a new way of living. You know, we don't live with the labels. We don't live with the names that we're given. We live with who we are, and we try to make a better life for ourselves. I am a strong believer that when you start thinking of yourself and start healing yourself, then you can heal the world, right? If you can't heal yourself and you can't serve your true self, how can you help someone else? You're actually being a hypocrite by doing that, you know? And that's why I always say, be real and raw, be yourself, be proud of yourself. You know, if you're struggling, say you're struggling. You know, we put this front on, especially on Facebook and Instagram, not so much TikTok. TikTok is more of a free, whatever you're feeling, you get up in your pajamas, your hair's not brushed, you're doing a TikTok. But on Facebook and Instagram, we have this feeling that we have to present ourselves in a different way. We put this different mask on, right? How we're supposed to look and everything. And I don't know why we do that for Facebook and Instagram, but we do. And a lot of people do it. I do it myself, you know? And when I get on TikTok, I really just don't care what you think of me, you know? But when I get on Facebook, I'm like, oh, I need to be like prim and proper, and I need to behave myself. And I don't know if that's society that's actually programming us to be that way, you know? And I think that we need to be the example, just set the example, educate ourselves as well, you know, stop thinking that we have all the answers. We don't. And, you know, reach out for help and educate. and
Yeah.
support. Like Adam brings up the school systems a lot, and I'm like Annette. They are
Don't
human
get
beings
started with
too,
the school system.
right? The organizations are human beings. Yes, they are not all correct, and yes, they need a lot of work. I am one that agrees with Adam. With there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but at the end of the day, they're people too, and they're learning what they're being told, just like we're learning what to be told and what to do. It's society programming everyone in a different way, in a different aspect, right? So that's all I have to say on that one. So
Yeah.
sorry
You
about
know what?
being long-winded.
It's all right. I'm going to pull out just a little bit of what you said is be the example. So I'm going to pull, I think that's a brilliant thing to finish on. Be the example you want to see in the world and obviously educate yourself. So thank you everybody for joining me tonight. I hope you've had a good show. I know I've enjoyed tonight. I know we've had a few technical issues, but we've got through. So before I go, join us again tomorrow night. Me and Andrea are back where I'm taking all the Warriors of Attraction. Well, I'm not taking over, I'm stepping in for Adam because our daughter has out of school. Our daughter has a club she needs to attend, and Dad is sorting her out tomorrow night. So I'm taking over Warriors of Attraction. So I'll see you all tomorrow night. Adam
See ya.
Oh, well.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
See you later. Bye.
What about you, baby?